Hello and welcome back to All About Book Summaries. We are doing how to read a book. We are on part two, chapter 7 now, X-raying a book. All right, as discussed in the last chapter, the first rule of analytical reading involves pigeonholing a book, right, or classifying it accurately. The second rule is this: make sure you can say what the entire book is about in a single sentence or at most a few sentences. Okay? Remember that as a writer, you outline first and then pen your drafts. Okay? As a reader, you apply a reverse order, i.e., you find out how the book is structured. Okay? And this brings us to the third rule: identifying the major parts of the text and identify the major parts of the text and recognize how they relate to one another. I quote, "A good book, like a good house, is an orderly arrangement of parts." Page 77. So, writing, like many human endeavors, is complex, and a well thought out, well organized book will have independent yet related parts. The author, especially one writing an expository work, will often help you wrap your head around his or her text, most often in the preface. Do not neglect to read such introductory passages, but also remain vigilant because ultimately it is up to you as a reader to determine the soundness of an author's organization. Ironically, I remember someone on Goodreads criticizing the way this book is organized. Anyway, summarizing a book using a few terse sentences has become increasingly challenging for most people. Okay, for reasons that I won't go into here. Okay, I will say that in order to improve both your reading and speaking abilities, try to avoid superfluity. Okay, yeah. Okay, don't be superfluous. All right. In addition, keep in mind that a correct summary or outline of a book can take on several forms. Okay, and this does not mean that any summary is good. Okay, that's important to keep in mind, or that all summaries are equal. Okay, consider checking out the actual book, How to Read a Book, if you want to see examples of outlines of familiar works. Okay, he goes into, I think, Darwin's On the Origin of Species and a couple of others. Okay. Also, keep in mind that perfection is not the aim when outlining. Okay, because no book is perfect. Okay, and neither is any reader. So to keep you grounded, though, you should aim to outline just enough, right? Good enough. So what constitutes good enough differs from person to person, but you will discover what works for you in terms of form and length by putting all this into practice. Okay? In other words, your first summary isn't going to be great. Your second one's going to be a bit better. Okay? And you'll improve as you move along. Okay? So if it's the first time if it's your first time doing this, it's going to take some trial and error before you get to a place where you're comfortable. Okay, there's one more rule that needs to be stated: discover and explicitly state what the author's challenges were. The book, any book, is usually an attempt to answer a problem or set of problems, right? You can more easily follow an author's line of thinking if you know what these are. Okay, what was he or she trying to tackle? So there are a myriad questions you can ask yourself in order to arrive at a satisfactory answer. Okay, so to summarize, the rules discussed thus far are these, and I quote directly from the book from page 95. 1. Classify the book according to kind and subject matter. 2. State what the whole book is about with the utmost brevity. 3. Enumerate its major parts in their order and relation, and outline these parts as you have outlined the whole. 4. Define the problem or problems the author is trying to solve. All right, that's it for this chapter.